I'm honored to be on this panel with you guys. And I guess, Juan, if you want to start with kind of giving us some context to your background. They call him the Godfather of the Cacao Renaissance on the island. You're like chocolate. Well, you're going to be able to try some later of his. So, if you pay attention, we'll be handing it out to you. If not, then, you get an apple, I guess. But so Juan, maybe give some context to your background and, why you moved back to the island and, why you got inspired about cacao and because, there's so many people I've met on the island that you have given mentorship to and training, and it's interesting how it all comes back full circle. And so, start us off with that and we'll get things going.
Thanks, Drew, and thank you all to be here this evening to us. I'm going to try to be quick as possible, explain what we're going to do, what we're doing. So, back in 2009, I left the manufacturing environment where I worked for about 24 years. And I started evaluating to develop the farming project. But at that time, I want to farm in something that can be exported from the island. And talking about agriculture in Puerto Rico, talking about exportations, it's like nobody believes that can be done. So I always like to do some things different. So I start looking for that kind of crop that has a market out there that we can grow in Puerto Rico and export from the island, and find out that the cacao meets the requirements. The cacao is not unknown for the Puerto Ricans because the cacao industry was established here by the Spaniards between 17th and 18th century. And remains of those trees staying in the island, inside the island, remains for those streams. So what I saw at that time was the possibility to restart that industry again. At that time I wasn't thinking that developing only my farm. I was thinking developing the industry again back in Puerto Rico. So I started giving workshop to other people that are interested in the cacao farming, and thousands of people through these 30 years passed through our workshops. And people that come into the island for some reason know about us and what we are doing, and they reach us. Stephen is one of them, and we help everybody because we want to develop the industry in the island. We are not focused on developing a farm, an industry. So, two things that are key points in the cacao industry in Puerto Rico is that we are a small island, so we cannot compete in quantity with anybody. So the big countries that are producing 1,000 and 1,000 of tons of cacao, we are not going to compete with them. We can compete in quality. So that's a challenge that we have at the beginning. So identify those special clones, cacao varieties, that can be produced in Puerto Rico to produce a special chocolate from them. And that need to be recognized worldwide. From 2017 to 2021, every competition that we participate, and I say we, it's not myself, it's fellows that send samples to those competitions, and we also compete on that. The competitions in worldwide competition in fine and flavored chocolate, which is the variety that we are developing in the island. From 2017 to 2021, we always been in the first 50 chocolates of the world with 2 silver prize. And that was done because we select at the beginning the special strain that we are farming in the island. And that's a recognition that we already got from the people who really knows about the chocolate quality. So they are expert master chocolatiers that evaluate the quality, and they are the ones that giving us the prize. So in 2020, we participate in the World Academy competition in London. Jean-Marie Chocolat won the silver prize for Puerto Rico. It was about 1,200 samples that were submitted to that competition, and our sample was the second one. So it's recognized around the world that we have this very special cacao in Puerto Rico. The challenge now is to develop the new farms with that particular varieties to maintain the quality and the recognition that we already got worldwide. And the second challenge is to increase the PR production in a way that we can export to other countries. We are focused in the United States, where our friends and fellows up there, the mainland, because the United States, the country in the world that most consumption of chocolates has. So, but they cannot produce it. So everything is imported from South America, Africa, and the other countries that produce the cacao beans. But inside the United States, the only 2 places that can produce cacao is Hawaii and Puerto Rico. And Hawaii has a very limited production, and they has a huge tourism economy there. So they make chocolate with everything that they produce and sell there. The master chocolatier in the mainland will not have access to the Hawaiian cacao beans. In the other hand, Puerto Rico is the one who can sell and ship all that beans to the States, to the master chocolatiers in the States. So the market is enormous. So we don't have any problem with that. Today, let's say 2 months ago, 3 months ago, I'm closing the cycle. We start with the idea, we select the material, we develop our farm, we encourage other people to develop more farms around the island. We have enough production right now. We opened 2 months ago our factory in Añasco, and we are making what I got here in this bag. This is a product we are introducing in the PR market. This is a chocolate 100% made in Puerto Rico, cultivated and processed in the island. And we are the only one. Jean-Marie Chocolat is the only one. So Jean-Marie Chocolat is the only brand in the market that can guarantee that our chocolate is cultivated 100% in the island, and all the product is 100% manufactured in the island. I'm also always thinking about farmers. We love farmers. We become farmer. I'm not a farmer. I become a farmer. So, and to give like an opportunity to the farmer that not be a ghost, like now that everybody talks about farmer, but also the people doesn't know who's the farmer who produces something. What we are doing is we are adding a QR code in all our package. In that QR code, we are running our production by batch, and we identify every batch from the farms that they comes, if our farm or a combination with other farms. So when you read that barcode, the system will drive you to the web page of the farmer, and you will know in which farm in Puerto Rico was produced the chocolate that you are consuming.
Traceability.
Yeah, that's what I want to do is traceability, but I want to give confidence to the market that if we are saying that we are producing a cacao that was farming in Puerto Rico, you can reach the farmer that produced the bean, and nobody has that around the world. Okay?
Amazing. Stephen, if you want to jump in, so maybe give some context to how the partnership is formed and how, what the vision is and so forth. And then Stephanie can explain how she fits in.
Thank you, Drew. And thank you, Juan. So we moved down to Puerto Rico in 2017 and bought our first farm in 2017, just before Maria. And one of our biggest questions is, what can we grow? What can we make? What can we have an agricultural business with? And one of the reasons that Puerto Rico doesn't have an agricultural economy is because it's very difficult to make money in agriculture in Puerto Rico for a number of reasons. So before I met Juan, we struck upon the idea of growing cacao. And cacao has a lot of benefits over growing coffee and other things we won't get into right now. But after we started planting and looking into growing cacao, I met Juan, and I discovered that there's different categories of cacao in terms of quality. And if you grow the kind of cacao that they grow in West Africa or Indonesia, it's like $3,000 a ton. If you grow the kind of cacao that Juan's strain grows, it's like maybe $10,000 a ton. So all of a sudden, the light went on. So maybe this is a way to move the dial on agricultural economics for Puerto Rico. So Juan and I, first of all, Juan was very helpful in helping me understand how to be a good farmer. I'm an investment banker from New York, and I didn't even know that pineapples grew out of the ground until I came here. So, but I did spend 3 years ago many hours, figuring out how to grow this stuff. And Juan, and very diplomatically, told me that I was an idiot. But I learned. I mean, how else are you going to learn if you don't make mistakes? But so we do now have experience in planting, and we've got another farm that's planted thousands of trees. And I think the key is that now that we do have what Juan developed, which is arguably the best strain in the world, and I just came back from a fine chocolate event in New York where people who tested our product from the beans that Juan developed say, yeah, this is amazing. Can you make more of it? So this is the challenge we face right now. And this is what we're looking to do to build an industry here in Puerto Rico, which can be a multi-billion-dollar industry and can take agriculture from being less than 1% of Puerto Rico GDP to, maybe 3 or 4, 5%. And the key is to get consistent production, large amounts of production, and processing and marketing, and create a Puerto Rican brand. And we have all the attributes here. We have lots of really high quality land. We have lots of people who want to make their land productive that's otherwise not productive. And we have the ability to now scale up production to make a nursery that can produce 50,000 plus grafted trees a month. So this is our mission right now, is to plant a lot of cacao of this variety that Juan developed and get it in the ground, get it growing, and in 3 or 4 years, our production can go from like 25 tons, no zeros behind it, just 25 tons, to get it up to 5,000 tons, 10,000 tons, get up to India's level or Mexico's level of 25,000 tons, and then we become a player in the world stage and be able to export our product worldwide. So that's the mission we have right now. And we're really excited about it. We've started to process a lot of, we've identified thousands of acres already. We figure there's at least 100,000 acres of property here in Puerto Rico that can be planted and brought up to production pretty quickly. And it's very doable, and we intend to do it. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, and Stephanie, if you want to jump in past the mic, talk about your history and kind of coming full circle to what you're bringing, which the term hasn't came out, but this is regenerative agriculture, agroforestry, organic, which is where the premium prices are coming. But maybe, fill us in on how it comes full circle.
Sure. My name's Stephanie. I run the Caribbean Agroforestry Institute. I'm a farmer. I'm also a land consultant, but primarily I'm an educator for the past 25 years in sustainable agriculture, agroforestry, permaculture, all of those things. And so I was introduced to Stephen through Drew and to Juan through Stephen. And so I've come on the team to help kind of advise from that side, and also to develop training programs for students to skill up to understand how to manage these systems on large and small scales. Farmers themselves, landowners themselves, but also their staff. In addition, something really exciting about it, I already have a lot of students that are coming and they want to do this work, and they don't yet have land of their own. So they are looking for employment to do that. We already have, we have held a permaculture course here in 2022. And 2 of our students, our graduates, have come back and now are moving to the island in November and are looking to work with the Cacao and with these gentlemen right here. So we're hoping to skill up the labor force and really keep that the eye on regenerative agroforestry practices, which is what Cacao fits into really, really nicely. And what Cacao offers landowners and these students as well with better paying jobs is a better price point. So a lot of our agroforestry crops can produce wonderful amounts of food. They don't quite hit the price point that Cacao does. So Cacao being in the system can offer our farmers a sustainable income, profit to the landowners and investors, and good quality, well-paying jobs to people who want to work with the soil. And cacao's delicious.
Yeah, so I like I said, I mean, the 3 of them, when this is over, pull them aside. Who here has ever thought about or wanted to be a farmer? Anybody like just kind of maybe a fantasy, but have a hacienda someday? But who wants to buy local? Who wants like fresher produce, like that's like accessible, right? Well, that's the beautiful thing is like everybody can get involved at some capacity, if it's you supporting a farmer through buying or getting literally your dirt under your nails as that's kind of like the true business card, I guess, know if you're a farmer, right? That I've learned. Usually I'm having to exactly, I wear gloves. But yeah, no, I think we're obviously could hit on a lot of different themes, and I think we're talking about launching a podcast to talk more on this theme in detail, where you can kind of like follow the journey. About 6-7 months ago, we did a conference called Uncommon Food Sovereignty over at the Caribbean University campus in Vega Baja. And that's really where this kind of all came together, because you all spoke at it. And we had like 15, 16 speakers. And I don't have a background in agriculture. I just like to eat. And calling Puerto Rico home for the last 5 years and going forward, it's like, instead of focusing on problems, why not focus on solutions? And, that's kind of what entrepreneurship is all about, paired with, nonprofits obviously play a role. And so, yeah, I mean, at that event, it kind of like sparked something that is kind of, 6-7 months later, kind of coming full circle, where, in agriculture, you need a cash crop that is able to sustain and hire and do and justify the investment for, to have a nursery, to have a manufacturing, to take it to market, to go to a conference, I think Cacao, and we're not going to get into all the details on how you can get involved, but if you scan these codes, you're going to find, that you can buy, his chocolate on the right. You can learn more about the nonprofit on the left, which, Stephanie, I want you to give a little bit more context to. And then, on the Cacao Bean Exchange, on the top one, if you're interested in passive real estate investing backed by agriculture, that's also helping the island in the sense of everything that's being discussed, that's kind of the package that isn't like, well, it is, we're happy to, reach out to Stephen and the team to kind of get all that full circle. And so I guess a role that I've pivoted into is on the real estate side. Antonio, if you want to raise your hand, with PMI, I'm starting to work with them under like their real estate brokerage, because the reality of it is it's very tough to figure out how this whole process works. And 6 to 7 months later of kind of, us going through, some processes, you realize that, working with people that have been at this for years, can save you a lot of time and money. But the idea is we've started to host these farm tours the last months. We have this regenerative community where we'll go to farm and we'll all kind of go as a group, and it's kind of a way to see how other people are farming and because at the end of the day, we're talking about and applauding John Marie for or Juan with his brand on like how he's pioneered this for 14 years, and it's impressive what you've done. But the reality is you want to boost other people up and have them come along and have a decentralized farm network where it's like you can own the farm, they can buy the beans to process it, and it's a whole chain. So do you have something you want to add to that, Stephen?
Yeah, I was going to say that you make the best cacao mixture ever.
Cacao ceremony.
We've had some parties where Drew makes his cacao mixture, and it's an amazing concoction. But I was just going to also say, along the decentralized side, there's a real movement here to get all of the potential growers and people involved. And the model is kind of like in France, where they have wine growing regions. So let's say Puerto Rico becomes like Bordeaux. And you're going to have many chateaus in Bordeaux that create great wine from their chateaus. We have the same thing in Puerto Rico, where you can have haciendas where each farm can produce its own, special high quality beans that can be exported, but under the hacienda brand. So we want to make this into a collective of the island, and not a dominant partner, not a dominant player, but make it into a collective Puerto Rican reinvigoration of agriculture, so that people can make use of their land and it becomes a Puerto Rico brand. And also I want to mention that Stephanie kind of got to, is that there's more to cacao than confectionery. It's actually a food, and it can be a really important food source, especially as we go forward in looking at food sovereignty and so on. And there's a lot of research to be done on how we can make cacao into a food-based product. So we are actually producing from the great beans that we got from the Jean-Marie collection some incredibly tasteful, no sugar added, very healthy cacao food that you can, put into a cheese grinder and put on top of your yogurt and fruit in the morning, or you can have it with a glass of wine at night. But it's really healthy, and it's not candy, it's food. And I think that's one of the things that we have to go back to what the Mayans did. Don't forget, the Mayans had cacao as a staple crop and a currency for 1,000 years. And I think we're going to come full circle and realize cacao is more than just a candy. That's what I wanted to add.
Yeah, no, that's, because I think we associate it with Hershey's chocolate, right? But realistically, when you look at the health benefits of the antioxidants, how it helps your heart and your circulation and all that, it's actually something you should be having every day. It's when you add a bunch of sugar that obviously that offsets the benefit. But so there's so much we could really get into. maybe just in a minute kind of closing of kind of your thoughts and all that one.
Well, something that I want to let you know is that we are talking about cacao because this is the main, let's say, crop that we are growing. But the idea is to go back to farming. We are not a large country, but we have a lot of land that was abandoned long time ago. And nobody believes in farming in Puerto Rico. We are importing about 90% of the food that we are eating. And for an island, that's critical. If we motivate the people that go back to the land with the cacao project, at the same time, we're going to farm in there a lot of food for the sovereignty that we need. The farm that Stephen bought in Las Marias, it has plantains, has bananas, it has coconut trees, now it has cacao, and so on, so on, so on. So it's a matter that people go back to the land, apply all the conservation principles that we are trying to apply, because we try to avoid the use of chemicals in our farms to guarantee the customer that they will receive a very healthy product that would not contaminate it by any chemicals that we are applying in the regular farming. At the same time, we are working with the conservation of the soil. We are working with facing the climate change that is happening around the world. If we manage the farms with the combined products in the same place, we are avoiding the monocrop farming, which is damaging the soil's quality. So we are trying to use the permaculture approach, which is multiple crops in the same land, and that gives the life, the better soil, long life for the soil, long productivity. The quality of the product will be better. The air will be clean because we have a lot of trees doing that job there. So there is a lot of, it's not only farming cacao, it's just trying to have a better Puerto Rico for everybody for a long time.
Just appreciate you, Drew, and you guys, and being part of the team, and really just how much I love farming and how many people there are out there that love farming and have moved away from it because they thought that they couldn't make an income. They saw their father or grandfather or grandmother struggle through that, and they've moved away from it. And it's not because it's not in their heart. It's just that they feel that that's not a pathway to success. So I'm really excited to be part of a team that's helping to open that success back up and get people back onto the land in a meaningful and valuable way, so they feel that the work they're doing means something to their community and to themselves and to the world. And certainly, like Juan said, the ecological farming, we don't have to choose between strip mine, monocrops, industrial agriculture, or we don't make a profit. It's quite the opposite. We can do the highest level of ecological farming and make a great profit at the same time. So we're excited to do that here with these guys. And if you know anyone who wants to take an agriculture course, or if you want to support an agriculture school and come check us out sometime, please reach out.
Yes. Yeah, thank you guys. Round of applause one more time and all that.